The birthday buff holds strong for them in the last match, but will it as they go on against KC, or will they finally get shut down? Let's find out who wins the grand finals.
So it's finally time to start changing the narrative on Quadrant. Everybody wondering for so long, when is Cash and Ixo going to get their opportunity? When are they going to step up? And when's Relating Wave getting a chance to prove that he was one of the key components of that endpoint squad? They've done that point now, Johnny, but they are up against last regionals, second place team, looking to go one further in Karmine Corp.
Yeah, and what a performance from Quadrant. I think once the pressure was off there, they really did just play a more consistent series than they did yesterday. A lot of pressure yesterday to get another top 4, but now that they've done it, they just seem to be reaching new levels. They're going to need to go to a higher level than we've seen from them, though, to take down KC. Definitely favorites to win this one.
Yeah, KC very quickly becoming just that team in Europe, the one that you sort of default to as, all right, who's going to win this tournament? All right, probably KC, and maybe we'll base everyone else off where we expect them to go. Here is Cash. And they need an exceptional performance from him. This player as well, Ixo. Back out. That's a bit wasteful, actually. You don't want to be just handing it over to Vatira. This is why. Straight to Exotic. And can't quite get that one over to Itachi. Quadrant need to stay aggressive here. They need to make sure that they're not giving space over to KC, who have proven themselves to be absolutely lethal. But I think quite importantly as well for me, Johnny, is that they make sure those mistakes from yesterday don't start wrapping their head or peeking their head back around again. Because the last team that you need to be giving up freebies to is a team like KC.
Yeah, KC are just, they're a unit right now. They're all in the Fennec. They're all just dominating challenges. They're all looking incredibly quick. And I think they just pressure the ball so well. They're really going to have, I think, so many free touches on it because Quadrant have to rush. They have to play quickly just to keep up with KC and the pace that they're setting, the pressure that they're putting on them. Quadrant have got to find a way to somehow get Karmine Corp out of the rhythm. And that's not how you do it. It's a shot opportunity. Vatira misses it, and that wasn't for a lack of boost. Just didn't get the slight touch on it that he wanted.
Yeah, the good thing there for Quadrant was that at least the shot that they left available was difficult to take. 2 minutes into this, no goals. Is that about to change? Yes, it is. Relating Wave is in the right place, but you'd have expected more work to be required to get past KC.
Ixo just did it all there. It was Karmine Corp trying to keep the ball in the corner, but Ixo managed to find a way through, sneaks past Vatira and Exotic, bumps Itachi out of the way in the goal line as well, leaving an easy shot for Relating Wave. You know, we talked a lot about Ixo and Cash this season, how they've got that 1v2, 1v3 capability. I think Wave's also just stepped up a ton today and made it, wow, that 3-man team that you need if you're going to win championships.
Vatira just getting in the way of Ixo at the moment. Itachi didn't want to launch forward. For me, this has been one of Itachi's best tournaments to his career. It's just looked a step above, gets the spotlight shone on him. He has been happy just to perform at his very best, but his team's going to need him right now. Instantly shut down. Vatira's on the scramble back. He's got pressure from Relating Wave, and Vatira still gets it.
That's unreal from Vatira. Just reminding everybody why he is considered one of the best defenders in the world. It's quite interesting to see that, you know, not long before that, well, Vatira was first attacking and then recovering down the field. He just kept on landing on top of Relating Wave's car, so great job by Relating Wave, carrying Vatira in a different type of way than we're used to talking about when we use that term. Vatira leaves it in the middle for Itachi, who gets his near post shot denied by Cash. Vatira and the gang not really forcing the issue yet, but look at this. Ixo's actually just beating 2 to the ball. Cash in there with the easy aerial. And it's actually Karmine Corp who are looking uncomfortable.
Just double commit. And you don't expect to see from Karmine Corp a double commit. They have been so defensively on point. And yet today in this grand final, their mistakes are starting to shine for a little bit. That being said, it is only game number 1. They were here or 2 weeks ago in the last regional grand final. They weren't able to get the job done. Do not want to start be known as perennial second places.
You know, the crazy part is that, you know, there was a double commit there from Karmine Corp in defense, but neither one of them is able to beat Ixo to the ball. Neither one of them even able to get a 50-50 with Ixo in that position. He just completely beat two Karmine Corp players, one who's jumping from the ground, one who's jumping from the backboard, and got a perfect pass to Cash, who moved in as third man and slotted it beautifully to the bottom corner. So, yes, strategical misplay, but mechanical as well. Either positional or just a speed difference there. Ixo with his second assist of the game, just being an absolute menace in the Karmine Corp half.
Oh, a minute left. KC need to get a move on here. Tachi takes control. He's got two players coming at him, and the two players have done their job well. Vatira now tasked with getting the ball over to a teammate. Instead, goes past the first one. Relaying Wave had to go early. Vatira to shut it down. One goal is all Quadrant have over KC.
And finally, Quadrant make a mistake. Ixo really just needs to play the ball there. He's got Relating Wave behind him to play off any kind of 50-50 or outplay. The fact that he just played for the big block and Vatira faked him out, just that left Relating Wave on an island, and he's in a 1v2 there, gets bumped. Well, he knew he's getting bumped, so he charged forward and got outplayed. But yeah, you can't really put blame on Relating Wave there. As the first challenge, Ixo has to hit the ball. He didn't do it. Vatira makes a massive play with the mind game.
Oh, Cash is in position, pops it off. Defenders are starting to turn up, and now Exotic. Opportunity here. He's got Vatira on the far side. Michael by himself. Relating Wave gets a bug.
Oh my goodness.
Tachi makes it 2 each.
Another flurry from KC. This time, Relating Wave first challenge does play the ball, but Ixo went for a bump on Itachi, and he just didn't quite get it. He was trying to knock him on the takeoff. Itachi escaped and got first to the ball, but the Quadrant just not getting the ball to a safe location there. They tried to get some pressure on it. It just hung around in the middle a bit too long.
We've seen this a few times ever since this season started. 2-goal lead dropped, and we look at it later on in the series and go, well, you needed that one, didn't you? Because the series gets away after that. Quadrant are coming into this one decided underdogs. They have to convert this game. That is an awkward bounce for everybody to work with. Relating Wave on his way back. We have overtime.
Yeah, neither team really wanted to play the 0-second game there. They're both quite happy to go into overtime. First play will be Relating Wave off the wall. Goes high to the backboard. That's not going to be a problem for Itachi. No double commit this time on the high ball for Karmine Corp in defense. Exotic now, he's through and goal with a look at this, but the door is slammed shut by Cash at the near post. Still, Quadrant struggling with their clears at the moment. They're getting challenges, yes, but followed up by clears sometimes. You know, the defense is still unconvincing for me.
Quadrant just aren't able to anticipate how good these challenges have been from KC, and now dancing past everybody. Vatira almost made it the entire way, but for me, Quadrant just need to get that little bit of anticipation better, sit a little bit deeper, so they can run onto plays, because right now they have to scramble because the challenge goes worse than they anticipate. Vatira easily wins the first one, leaves it for a teammate, and it's not enough. 2-goal lead is not enough. And Quadrant against KC are not enough.
Oh, just look at the Vatira difference here. So much pressure. Beats his man to the ball. And then he's in the area just to annoy Ixo with his mere presence, enabling his teammates to shoot underneath the pre-jump. Comeback win in game 1 for Karmine Corp. That's a crushing blow to Quadrant's chances of winning their first ever event here. Well, it would be for Ixo and Cash. Relating Waves won quite a few, actually, but two-thirds of this roster really just want to get their first win, prove to themselves that they can do it. They just fell apart in this one. You know, not enough playing in the ball when Vatira's air dribbling. So many free mind games for him. You cannot be giving Vatira mind games, or he's gonna have full control. You've got to at least force him to lose control when he's air dribbling at you. That's, I think, where Quadrant have dropped the ball here.
I mean, for me, Quadrant are just... They need to find another level now, because Karmine Corp have clearly proven that they are going to play at the level that we expect them to. I've already seen online some of the hopium has already begun against Karmine Corp, where everyone's just saying, oh, okay, well, they haven't proven it online yet. I feel like I've heard that one before, Johnny, regarding a certain BDS. So Karmine Corp are putting the fear into many fans across the world. But for Quadrant, this is a fantastic result, no matter what from this tournament. But to go ahead and win it is what they want for their careers, because you don't want to just be there. You don't want to just be another team that's added to the ranks. You want to be the team that's been discussed along with the BDSs, your Karmine Corp, as a potential tournament winner. Well, it's ahead of you here. You've just lost the first game after a 2-goal lead. Let's see how the bounce back is for Quadrant, because whilst they were up against Vitality, they've been relatively unchallenged when they've been behind. They've not been in a position all too often where they've had to drag themselves back into a series.
Indeed. And, you know, I mentioned in the mid-game or between games 1 and 2 there that it's the mind games from Vatira that's the easiest thing to look out for. I think Quadrant will have spotted that. Expect to see them just simply playing the ball, just like Relaying Wave's done there. You know, he's got Vatira on the other side of it. He's just going to ignore what Vatira's doing and go straight for the ball. Because if Vatira's gone for 2 mind games in 1 game, and in the first game of the series, you can expect to see a few more of those. But, you know, Vatira's not a one-trick pony there. He's got full control. He can go high with the double tap. He can go quickly with the resets. So it's going to be interesting to see how both these teams adapt. Will Quadrant be able to have Vatira's number any better in this game? Will Vatira continue to switch things up? And they're playing the ball against him, but it's 50-50 game, so good. It doesn't matter here. Exotic with the open net double. And it's off the back of another threatening Vatira play. Relaying Wave goes for the ball, but Exotic just quicker to the follow-up.
I mean, this is a great example of what I was talking about in the last game, of the follow-up and just the anticipation of what's going to happen from a challenge is so much better from KC than from Quadrant. Quadrant just can't quite get that rhythm down at the moment. And now it is 4 goals unanswered. KC are just starting to... Well, that was a little bit of a weird one, but almost worked nonetheless. A minute played here. Karmine Corp, despite the shaky start, are well in control of this series. Left it. Tachi probably didn't get the call for that one early enough. Here's Vatira, and there you go, yet again. Just doesn't ever go for the outplay. Wants you to challenge him. He knows he's got you beat.
Yeah, we did see chat from both teams on the face cams between games here. You know, I'd love to be a fly on the wall and hear what's being said, but if I were to guess what Karmine Corp were talking about, you know, they're surely just telling each other, let's just stay calm. We've got this team's number. We don't need to force the issue here. Look at Itachi, reset double, it's been saved between the crossbar and Relating Wave. Fantastic pre-jump there by Relating Wave to have the top corner covered on such a fantastic shot.
And it does appear that with this new roster, Itachi, more than any other roster we've seen him on, has had a spotlight on him. He is now more involved in the play than we've ever seen before. Itachi attacking Cash, Vatira with the challenge! It's just too strong!
I mean, it's what we expected. They're playing the ball when Vatira's air dribbling, but Vatira's not a one-trick pony. I mean, yeah, you could play the ball and deny the mind games, but he's got other tricks up his sleeve as well. Monstrous mid-air 50-50 from Vatira, full control. And he could have watched that bounce in. He didn't even have to touch it again, but he does so just to make sure. 2-0 KC in game 2. About to be 2-0 in the series unless Quadrant can come up with something special.
Up to 5 now, unanswered. Karmine Corp are just cantering their way to a regional championship. Cash, as he had his opportunities, saw yesterday that he was able to demolish his series against Tundra. Not getting it this time around. He is against a much different beast when it comes to defensive capability. As Relating Wave wins that challenge, Cash pops it on, but you can really see the anticipation from Vatira. There was at no point there where that pop-on really made life more difficult for him. If anything, he was just expecting it and was already in position. Relating Wave stealing pinch, and Vatira is just waiting. There's a lot of midfield challenges, and instead, not going to get too fancy with it. Cash goes pure power.
Oh, that's a big mistake from Vatira. He left that one lingering in the middle, wanted to fly after it, and gets absolutely clattered out of the air by Ixo. So, you know, heavy first touch, yes, from Vatira, that's a mistake, but what quick capitalization there from Ixo and Cash to pounce into position, simultaneously bump Vatira away from the plate and shoot on target before Karmine Corp can reshuffle their defense and get in position.
Midfield, Vatira passes it off. What early jump from Itachi, still not quick enough. Well, the goal drow is now gone. Now, those over on Quadrant, they need to start harvesting here. They need these goals. or in regulation 1, either in regulation or in overtime, but either way, they cannot afford to drop another one here. Not expect KC of all teams to be giving up 4 goals to you. That comes out, but Vatira takes his time, tries to play around instead, realizes his shooting opportunity had gone away, decided to buy some time instead of that one, but KC not having the best of all times here. 45 seconds left. Lane wave on the challenge. Ixo, good pass from one player. Look how much time KC are getting to control the ball, and they are utilizing every single second of it.
You know, I do really like what I saw there from Vatira. Faking the shot and instead just dribbling the ball to the sidewall with this 1-goal lead. Okay, we're still 1-goal lead. They can afford to make those decisions. They don't need to take risks to try and double up the lead here. And they might in a moment. Is almost another goal for Quadrant. Exotic able to deny that one with a quick save in the near post. And now we're into the final 10 seconds. What have Quadrant got left?
There was a double commit earlier on as well, so Ixo had to play himself back. Time has now ticked away. Keep the ball up or lose game number 2, and they're not able to do the former. Karmine Corp 2, Quadrant 0. And if it was 84% to 16 coming into this series, what are Karmine Corp like at 2-0?
Yeah, this is just a timeout for sure. And indeed, Quadrant have called timeout. They need to come up with some type of different game plan here. Because what they're doing, it's working when Karmine Corp misplay, but when Karmine Corp are just playing their game, I don't think Quadrant can realistically create scoring chances against them. And they've not really forced the issue in either of these games. They relied on a very slow double commit in game 1 for their second goal. They relied on Karmine Corp really getting very tight and boxed up in the first goal, and they relied on Vatira missing a clear in this game. So I mean, there's slight mistakes from Karmine Corp on every single one of Quadrant's goals, and you know that's not always a problem. There are top tier teams in the world who play off mistakes pretty much solely for their offense, but I don't think you can do that against Karmine Corp. They're not making enough mistakes for that to be a valid winning strategy for me.
It's also just not Quadrant. You know, we've the teams that we've seen it previously are something that we get to see every time they take to the field. But we saw what Quadrant's offensive plan is yesterday. Give it to Cash, give it to Ixo, get them to play off one another. And it's not available right now. Now, I understand it's Halloween, this sort of season, but for me, a huge part of this is that Quadrant are seeing things that are scaring them in the shadows. They are reacting to plays that are not happening. Big example of that, the clear game. Every single time they clear the ball, 1, got no power. That's its own problem in amongst itself. But 2, they're clearing it when actually they do have a little bit of time to control the ball. They are getting rid of it. And by then, Vatira, Itachi, Exotic, they've already moved back. They've got easy control of the ball because it's rolling over to them in a controllable manner rather than being awkward and having to use boost and put yourself in a bad spot, which Quadrant can try and capitalize on from there. They need to be aware of their space and not respect KC quite as much for me.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what they try here. You know, after going 2 games down, a lot of teams will try and really just look after the possession, look after the ball when they've got it, like it's their one and only prized possession. But I think that might be a mistake. I feel like Quadrant just have to full sends here. They've I think, got to start trying to get wide into really far apart positions and look for the kind of team plays that we saw working out against Vitality. Because the solo play from Ixo and Cash, that's something that Karmine Corp are going to be expecting, and they're always ready to send one challenge early and back it up with another one immediately.
I like that. That's what I want to see from Cash.
Yeah. I think this is for me, the best chance that they've got is trying to lurk in positions. Oh, that's not ideal. Ixo's own goal. Oh, we don't even get a chance to talk about potential win conditions. They've already conceded. Ixo didn't get a good 50-50 there, and it's actually Cash who sent it into the back of his own net. It's really all gone wrong there for Quadrant, but they've just got to keep their heads here. They've got to keep their cool. There's a long time left, a long way to go, potentially in the series. What are they going to try here to break Karmine Corp's rhythm?
Oh, well, that's straight to Vatira. Is this number 2? They're just playing for the challenge every single time. Yes, he's setting it up in different ways, but the end goal is always the same. Is this going to be goal number 2? But much to the point, I feel like both of us are making now of, you're not playing. Okay, there you go.
I was like, oh,
you're
no.
Not gonna get You're not going to be able to boom the ball and, you know, set KC off. You're not going to 1v3 them.
Okay.
You are, however, going to be able to put players in that midfield, get extra touches, and take it from there. One of the rare times that they've been able to put pressure on the players rather than just the ball.
You know, I like that fast move in there from the second man position for me. So you just have to go completely all in as second man against KC if you're going to have any chance of beating them to the punch. Such a well-structured defense in general. The third man has to be so careful. That's what Relating Wave has been called upon to do in this roster so many times. There it is again, Relating Wave this time. Second man into the play, and look at the speed at the near post. Grabs the back corner boost, turns around with a breaker rotation. That one catches KC off guard.
And his work started so much earlier as well, because off the kickoff, he ruined the positioning of Exotic, just threatened the bump, and Exotic ended up in no man's land on the wall, couldn't do anything after the fact. So as good as we rate Relating Wave as a third man, he's doing all of the work in offense right now. And he'll be hoping that this is a lead that they can maintain, maybe even grow upon. Has to do well on this challenge. Itachi moves in with Exotic in support. This is where I hope to see some follow-up right now. Vatira just too slippery. Almost managed to get the bump on Ixo as well. At least he's out of the play for now, and this is a good chance. Cash, if he's going to get a best setup, it's not going to happen. Almost able to put it in.
That was a great save. Cash, of course, has the respect of any player in the world from that position. Everybody knows he can score those tight angle double taps on demand. Look out for the 50-50s of Karmine Corp. They are just absolute bricks on the field right now whenever they challenge the ball. They look completely bulletproof.
Oh, that bounce.
Yeah, Vatira didn't read that. He thought it was bouncing straight downwards. He would have been ready for it if it did. Boost running low for Quadrant here. Only Cash, who had some just for a moment. Ixo's grabbed it back corner 100. These are moments where they are going to try and hold on to the ball. You know, I said it's not really, for me, the game plan versus KC to be patient. I think you've just got to be impatient against this team. You've got to force the issue, but oh, look at this from Cash. Double off the backboard. This time, no one is there to save it. And for once, Vatira did not have boost to get up quickly enough. He tried to pre-jump in one half of the goal. Cash sends it the other way.
That's, however, an improvement over what we've had in the previous two games, because the last two games, Quadrant send that straight back to Vatira. Instead, utilize the advantage that they had, realize that midfield for once was uncontested, and they do have themselves that 2-goal lead re-established. And Cash is floating it past everybody.
Oh.
Ixo and Cash have come online.
Loving this. I mean, it's actually once again threatening another 50-50 win, but Cash refused to give it to him. He does not want to flip into the ball, because every time that they commit to 50-50s, whenever they try and control the play, doesn't work out. It's the chaos that's, I think, allowing Quadrant to thrive right now. The more the ball is bouncing around rapidly, out of control, the more we're likely to see Quadrant pounce and capitalize on these positions. Great pass infield there from Cash. It was closed down well, though, by Karmine Corp. There's, you know, way down in this game. I'm sure they're still going to be pressing for the comeback win here, though.
Look at how Quadrant are leaving players in front of the ball for a change, although this one is a bit of a 3v1 for now. The reinforcements are on their way, but Cash doesn't need any of them.
Yeah, I'm surprised not to see a better bump attempt on Cash from Exotic there. He jumped in his approach, and that really just took away all of his options. If he just stayed on the ground there, you know, he could have jumped later to counter Cash's in and out save. It's very possible that he could fly up and connect with Cash as he's coming out of the top side of the goal. So very surprising to see a missed read there from Exotic on his approach. He was completely by himself. He bumps Cash there. It's a goal. Not able to connect with him, Cash, with a fantastic in and out save.
Very decent pinch attempt there. Relating Wave with Ixo to target. Instead takes the ball back down. And it's over to Ixo. Hat-trick hero Ixo. And Relating Wave, he's the one that started off this game on the player in form. And he's continuing it towards the latter half of this matchup. We already know that the timeout buff is real. We don't quite know yet if the birthday buff is real, but right now that timeout has come well into effect.
It's yet another crushing victory. This is how Quadrant were able to start off their series in the semi-final today against Vitality, winning 7-1 against a team that eventually...
5 minutes there and thought you were all lying to me when I came back.
Yeah, double touch and defense from Cash into the back corner, safe as you like. I mean, they're not a terrible team defensively. I think they just have their moments, or at least they have this weekend had their moments where they just fall to pieces. So, you know, that's sort of why I want to see them just play as loose as possible, just play with, you know, full chaos. And it's worked out in this game. They just continue to try and attack as quickly as possible every single time they get the ball. If you're trying to bait in Karmine Corp to 50-50s, I think you're playing their game, but this is Quadrant's game. They just play in a way that the ball is never in a 50-50. It's always bouncing around. It's always pinging about, and they can use their quick read.
I like it.
Their speed. Oh, it's an immediate timeout from Karmine Corp.
I like it. The
I think so. I like it as well.
Get rid of the timeout buff.
Yeah, too often we do see teams just trying to play after a tough loss like this and just go for a mental reset without calling a timeout, but this time they have just called a timeout after one loss. Karmine Corp trying to put a halt to Quadrant's momentum immediately. And yeah, I totally agree with you. I love that.
I think they've just spotted something that they really don't like, because certainly there are words being shared right there. So something has been seen that either needs improving or can be taken advantage of from Quadrant.
Well, they've been outplayed in this game. For the first time.
Ixo hat-trick, Relating Wave. Full credit, Relating Wave is the one that got that one started.
Yeah.
And a rare occasion where Cash was just sort of, not necessarily a bystander because his defensive display was fantastic, but how often do we come to an end of a game like this, just see a 5-1 and go, yeah, Cash was the good defender of the lot?
I think we might see more of that from Quadrant as time goes on. I expect to see Relating Wave, taking more of an aggressive role in the team. It does happen when you put a player like Wave in a team surrounded by mechanical geniuses, then you're gonna just get inspiration to do that as well. And he is, I think, underrated mechanically, but Quadrant for the first time in the series able to consistently outplay Karmine Corp. They were mostly preying on Karmine Corp mistakes for their previous goals, and then game 3 they just completely blow the dam wide open, score 5 past one of the best defenses in the world, maybe the best defense in Europe right now. Karmine Corp, bit of a head scratcher. I mean, this I think might be as much of a momentum killer timeout as it is an adaptation of strategy.
I mean, if they wanted to go off previous results, they should be reminded that after Quadrant managed the 7-1 Vitality, they did kind of lose the next one. What was it, 4-1? So if they want to go off history, then maybe they should have just let it run on. But instead, I've got the timeout, something, there have been words exchanged. One thing I did like there, Quadrant looked ecstatic over in their camp, Snasky behind them, and all of them full of bright smiles as we go over to Utopia Coliseum. Are we going to get this series all tied up? Or are Karmine Corp going to put themselves right back in the driver's seat? Timeout buff is gone, and instead it's over to KC.
And I know it's probably unintentional, but you did just say, "Are Karmine Corp?" and I love that. That's a great phrase, Shogun. So I'm going to keep bringing that one back. Karmine almost corped them right there with the immediate goal, but it's well dealt with, at least for the moment, by Quadrant. They're getting a bit boxed up at the near post here. This can be awkward. I mean, pro players can make this work. You don't want to try that one at home, but they've handled it well once again. It's not a good clearing angle though. Ixo pinches it out into the middle again. I mean, these central clears are just going straight to Karmine Corp players.
Yeah, need to keep those ones going wide. They do have players sat in the right position for it. All played into the corner. Cash just loitering. Doesn't win the challenge. Oh my good, Vatira just took on 2 with no boost. And that's probably the greatest strength of Vatira, is that he is so good at not putting himself in positions where he has the excuse of, oh yeah, I couldn't get it to work, I didn't have boost. It's, okay, I don't have boost, how do I get this to work?
Phenomenal read on an infield pass there from Relating Wave. It would have been a tough one to stop from that range. He did not cut it off and relied on a goalkeeper to save it. This time it's Exotic cutting off the pass. Relating Wave all alone in defense. He gets behind the ball and plows right through 2 players. Continues to linger upfield, stay upfield for extended periods of time. I mean, Relating Wave there just chose to continue going for demos. He didn't immediately circle back and resume his third man position he's so well known for. Now, it looks like they've just told Wave, no, get involved. Let's just send everything here. We're not going to win this one with a strategy of defense. We have to get in their faces. We have to play our game. And look at Quadrant thriving again. Itachi trying to go in field here. Going right into Cash, who was waiting for him and read him beautifully.
Yeah, Quadrant are no longer jumping at shadows. Itachi trying to be a bit cute with it. Did not work at all. Cash ready. Went for the challenge, took it the whole way, and now Ixo gets it at least past the first player. Cash over the top, Exotic called into action. That's bounced awkwardly for him. Support moving on in. It's Ixo! And Itachi keeps it out. It's a tough angle for Relating Wave to work with. Still tries to shoot. Ixo's got rid of one of them. Can't find the passing angle. Exotic had that one covered. But Quadrant are starting to rock and roll here. Got the first goal. Got rid of the timeout. If they take this, then suddenly that 16% they had coming into this series balloons, and everyone starts to look, this is a team that might take a regional, but they need to get the job done in this game.
You know, a very rare occasion might be upon us if Quadrant can win this. And we'll have no timeouts remaining for games 5, 6, and 7. We're just going to be playing back-to-back-to-back games, potentially. And I'm all for it. Quadrant have absolutely stepped up here. They have just attacked with a ferocity and a confidence that not many teams are able to do against Karmine Corp. Karmine Corp's defense, and the way that they control every engagement, makes even the best players and the best teams in Europe doubt themselves and start to question whether they really should be going for that ball. Really, should I be going for that challenge? Well, Quadrant aren't really thinking about that. They're playing with zero hesitation right now, full confidence, and it is working wonderfully.
Yeah, it's not about committing 80% to what you think might happen. It's committing 100% and just not worrying. Bye-bye. You are not getting anywhere near this. Wiped out by Itachi.
And this time, it works. Vatira, the easiest goal of the day for him. And, you know, I've got to point out that Relating Wave, I've been crediting him and I've been interested to see him lingering upfield for longer than I'm used to seeing from him. Often the player to dart back immediately, but I think that was one of those times where he probably should have prioritized recovering as quickly as possible instead of staying for that extra half a second to steal the corner boost away. I think he might have been able to catch up with Vatira if he just circled back immediately.
So 1-1, 80 seconds left here. And a massive swing game between these two squads, and everything's going wrong for Quadrant. One player whiff, two player whiff. The other one couldn't even really land on the floor properly, but instead they've now burst back into life. Midfield, the Cash, and Exotic keeps it out. More importantly, made sure Ixo could not follow up.
That's a great save from Exotic. He, I think, just had a fantastic reading what Cash was doing. He just knew that Cash is likely to try and catch him pre-jumping across the goal there. He just stayed exactly where he was. And look at Exotic again. He's dodged the demo and made another key save. This one has no follow-up from his team, though. Relating Wave pushes it in. But really, Exotic needs some help here. You know, the clear is nothing to write home about, but where's the rest of the Karmine Corp roster? They're both turning on the far post wall. I mean, Exotic needs some, he needs some help. Not the best clear, like I mentioned, but really, you can't ask more from him when he's under that much pressure.
No, when you're talking about 3 different touches, and every single one of those touches, you are saying a new Quadrant player was involved, and every single one of them, you're saying that the same player on KC was defending against it. Yeah, there's not really too much you can complain about from that one KC defender. Exotic needed the help, and now Itachi might be providing it in a different way. In comes Vatira.
Whoa!
There was a miss on the ball, and Cash would have been spamming the look at ball button afterwards, and it's not in. Now he's come in and got the ball away from a loitering Exotic. Still 10 seconds left. Vatira right away over the corner. They've extended the 2v2. Ixo is back in. 4, 3, 2, 1. Gotta get rid. Ixo sees the ball to the floor. Quadrant 2, Karmine Corp 2.
I cannot believe Relating Wave just locked up Vatira in the corner and said, yeah, this is fine. This is not a problem. I'm just going to stay here. That's crazy. The fact that he was in position to enter the play more easily while his team's defending, and he just didn't bother. He just locked up Vatira. I mean, I'm not sure really who that 2v2 favored, but wow, what a bold way to finish.
That's the bit where I'm actually just like, I know there's a lot of people out there who will say, don't do that. Come on, it's the top level. But for both teams, there was a good reason to maybe leave that as it was. Because Renee was like, cool, I got rid of Vatira. Fantastic.
Yeah, no boost
like,
as well.
Mate, I'll
no boost. He's thinking, I've got no boost. I'm useless. I'll just stay here, make it a 2v2. And he's probably yelling, it's a 2v2, it's a 2v2, I've got no boost. But, you know, I don't think it's, I think he probably could have done something. If he half flips in a position there, he's probably covering something. So, yeah, respect to relating with there. That's bold. What an entertaining way to tie the series.
And again, if you're Vatira, your team's in a great position on that 2v2 to try and score. And now, speaking of 2-2, that is the scoreline of this series. Quadrant fought back into this and maybe able to keep this one out. They have for now. Have shown a different level to their defense, not just their offense. And what I'm liking at this point, Johnny, is that the touches in defense are now impactful. They're getting the ball away from the next man up. Rather than earlier on where Casey were able to run roughshot on that particular type of play. Now on the counter, Itachi had two players up against him.
Yeah, I think Quadrant have just made the perfect switch up. Zero hesitation, zero respect. They're, you know, if you could turn off nameplates, if you could have your opponents in the lobby named after Rocket League bots, I think that would be a great help for people playing against Karmine Corp. It's less intimidating. This is intimidating here, though. Vatira, almost save by Eco. He denies the point-blank range finish by popping the ball into his own crossbar. Exotic was right there for it. Vatira will be devastated. He outplayed the entire team, and this time, there's no team for him to outplay, just an open net. He puts it in himself.
Vatira will think just about time, really. Ixter with the whip off the backboard. He will not be happy that we are sitting through this replay, and he has to relive that one. And that is a massive moment as well for KC, because when you get games like the last one that go against you, and then you don't score that, suddenly it starts to feel like just an inevitability that the game is starting to creep away from your hands. And they've got the 1-goal lead. But in all series, that first goal has not really meant all too much. Both teams seem to have the fight back within them.
You know, much more aggressive off-the-ball set up here from Karmine Corp in Game 5. Not sure if that's something Quadrant will be expecting. Karmine Corp have tried to just out-position them and have a superior, I think, spacing on the lobby. Every time a Karmine Corp player plays the ball, someone else is following up behind him. Anytime somebody challenges, someone's following up behind him. That's how they've beaten every team in this tournament so far. That's how they've been so dominant. But Quadrant haven't allowed them to really get into that zone, because whenever Quadrant have the ball, they just fire it in seemingly a random direction. That's a better save there from Ixo. Lamp in the near post. They're all on the same page, Quadrant, and that's what's making it work. That if you're spread out, if you're ready for your teammates to just rush everything, you're going to be able to play off that just a little bit quicker than the opposition. Karmine Corp have really had all the pressure, all the territory so far in Game 5. We're past halftime, just 2 shots for Quadrant to write home about, and neither of them are memorable.
Much to your point as well about just taking that aggressive stance, that everybody has to be on the same page. If one player is doing it, it makes it pointless because nobody's going to be there to follow up.
Yeah.
It is an all or nothing style of approach, and that was 2 players. That was very much close to all of it gone for Karmine Corp. Demo as well, much needed challenge from Itachi, get rid of the ball. And just more time ticking away without any reasonable opportunities created for Quadrant. KC, on the other hand, you'd think they're the team that are trailing at the moment. They have been very dominant across the field in terms of setting up possession, getting their opportunities. This one might be against them, however. Itachi doesn't really feel too much pressure. That's because none was heading his way.
Yeah, full control for Karmine Corp here. Such a solid team once they've got a goal lead. More prepared for those hard cuts, for those breaks of rotation that Quadrant have been surprising them with in games 3 and 4. You know, previously, Quadrant had clearly communicated that to one another. Just anytime you can turn on the ball and quickly advance, do it. We know we know anyone's gonna turn at any time, even relating wave. There's no leaving the ball to go through to a third man here. Looks like Karmine Corp have adapted to that now. They've realized, okay, Quadrant are just gonna go for everything. They're not respecting us. They're not leaving the ball to roll through. They're playing impatiently. And when a team's playing impatiently against you, you need to also play impatiently, but just be better, just be faster, just be more mechanical. And I think that's something KC can do.
It's just nullified their challenge game a little bit, although it has re-established itself in this game. And speaking of re-established, Vatira, how are you going to stop him when he's established this much field presence?
It's a monster of a pass across the field there from Itachi. Defense completely flat on that one from Relating Wave. He had boost. He was in the net. He just didn't expect the cross to go that high towards the back post. So he covered more than near post. Didn't want the drop down. Didn't want the direct shot to be a problem. Itachi just launched it over his head. This is going to be game 5 going to Karmine Corp. Double match point going to Karmine Corp. Barring a ridiculous chain of events. That's not a storyline we're going to need to think about, because it is a comfortable 2-0 victory for KC. We're back in the driver's seat.
I'm trying really hard to remember a Quadrant chance. Really, really hard. I'm not coming up with much in this one. Everything I'm thinking of is just Karmine Corp opportunities. So for Quadrant, I don't think you change anything. I feel like this was just one where Karmine Corp had the better execution of their plan, and you cannot afford to let this game force you to go back to what plan A was, because plan A is not going to happen in a series like this.
Agreed.
If Karmine Corp are going to peak in this fashion, fine. Make them. Keep them up to that sort of level, and maybe you can have a shot at this. But more importantly, 2 games. Win this one and go to the great equalizer in Rocket League Champions Field. But before then, Neo Tokyo and 5 minutes for Quadrant to find the answers.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think they've just got to keep on playing their game, keep on playing as aggressively as they can, keep on turning early, and trying to surprise Karmine Corp. Karmine Corp started to see it coming a little bit more. They started to anticipate the early challenges, anticipate the breaks rotation that Quadrant have been going for. I mean, there's one from Cash, just diving right back towards the ball in the play and dispossessing his opponent. I think that they'd rather go out playing like that than go out stuck in their net like they were in game 5, and even as well in game 2.
And the more and more that they play in this fashion, if they can establish any sort of pace dominance, it reopens up Ixo and Cash's play style. Right now, this is not their starter series. They are good at playing the pace game. They would rather have a little bit of time to set up that first touch. There's Cash, yes, setting himself up here, but no real threat onto the goal. Looking for a little bit of boost to steal as he's on his rotation out. Relating Wave a little bit too far forward now. Can he get there in time? Just able to palm the ball away, but look at the amount of time that Vatira's getting. Boost management will be crucial here for Quadrant. If they cannot keep that in check, then KC will just take over as Ixo tries to find a way out, and Exotic pre-jumps him and says, nah, mate, you're not having that today.
Looks like Karmine Corp are they're so comfortable when they've got Quadrant in front of them. When they can see all 3 Quadrant players, they just know exactly what to do. They know exactly how to counter what's coming towards them. I've actually got Relating Wave disconnecting here, so we will have a pause. But yeah, unfortunately, for the start here for Quadrant.
They took your advice, Johnny. You really are comfortable. You can see all of us. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that's a good point. You can't see Relating Wave anymore. He's gone. Yeah, I think it's not looking great for Quadrant so far. Obviously, Relating Wave will get back to the match, then it's going to look better. But this is not what they want. They want a chaotic match. They don't want an organized rotation for both teams where everybody's taking their turn going for the ball, and then it comes down to controlling 50-50s, controlling challenges, timing challenges, timing perfect spacing as you come in behind a teammate or who's challenging or making a play. That's where Karmine Corp thrive. For Quadrant, they need to make this unpredictable. They've got to get into weird positions. They've got to start surprising Karmine Corp again. So if Karmine Corp can just keep on Seeing all three behind the ball, or at least all three behind the play where they can see all of the information that Quadrant have got, I think Karmine Corp just closed this one out.
And Karmine Corp just having fun with it right now. I mean, they know that their work is done. They are now qualified after Vitality lost their previous matchup, so they're already good and ready to go for Rotterdam. And what a performance and what a representative we will have from Europe for Quadrant. I mean, I'm a believer now. They are standing their ground in this. I do feel like they've been a step behind KC, but this is also a team of relative newcomers when it comes to this sort of level. You know, not just the high level, the highest level of Rocket League. So we are going to be going back to kickoff. 3 minutes 27 on the clock, and maybe one of the least controversial restarts on the kickoff that we are ever going to get, Johnny.
Yeah, pretty simple in there. Clear disconnect. There he is.
Yep, he's gone. He's not there. We might as well get him back in. So here we go, back to Neo Tokyo. First goal, massive in terms of deciding whether or not we will require that Game 7 in a series that, at least in a somewhat odd sense, saw the timeouts used very early on. And what a save that is. Karmine Corp out swinging from the restart.
Our late wave's been removed from the play here, but Exotic didn't have an option in the middle. He wanted his third man to move in there. Sierra decided against it. Didn't want to take that risk. Didn't want to play for the all-in move. They're waiting for a better one. And there it is. Don't know how much of this was communicated. Since it's Karmine Corp, you've got to imagine that that's intentional. Look at, yeah, it is indeed. It's actually leaning away from the play. He's faking an air dribble. He's calling that, so Vatira knows the entire time. And he just fires it into the, well, partially open net. 1-0 KC.
Oh, good opportunity.
Oh, what a save!
Itachi keeps it out, keeps that 1-goal lead. Cash moves it, he is outpaced. Ixo towards the backboard, that's not a shootable angle for him though. And the boost has been stolen away, now to Relating Wave. Goes backboard, they need some passing plays. Are they going to be able to 1v3 outplay KC? You've got to say that it looks unlikely. Now Vatira, pass, shot, not on target. Back to the opposite side of the field. Ixo looking to chase down. He's not got it on that side. Relating Wave waits on the far side. Vatira back over to Itachi over on that right side of the field. 2 players committed. Quadrant want to fight for this ball.
Wow.
They've got to fight back from 2 goals down.
All lateral movement from Karmine Corp. Vatira air dribbling across the field, manages to get 2 players to jump up and challenge him. They were ready. They were expecting him to just air dribble straight on net. But Vatira, not for the first time this series, while his team leads by 1, just plays the ball laterally, just goes sideways, no rush, full patience. And now full control for KC. Cash trying to get something started, but doesn't look like much. Oh, Ixo's managed to get in first on the play, and that's the third man commitment that Quadrant much needed.
You are not going to get another chance like that against KC. For Cash to have that kind of space to play the ball, something needed to come from it. 1 goal, Quadrant. Can you go and find it? Not the kickoff yet again. Ixo can look for Exotic.
Oh.
And Exotic just past everybody. Now going to waste the time. He's got past 2 players. Exotic! What a play!
The Fennec is a double jump beast. Just no mechanics needed, just double jump into the ball. I swear I see Fenix do this so much more than Octave. I don't know why it is. But this car is just the perfect car for 50-50s and popping the ball quickly. There's nothing special, just basic mechanics. And oh my goodness, Exotigas can do so much. What a save that was. I mean, he's doing so much for his team here. Ridiculous pre-jump there. Insane read. Can they keep the hold on this 2-goal lead for now? Yes, they can.
Vatira, even knowing that the player was behind him, just did not trust it. Knew that he wanted to try and play for the block. Ixo needs to avoid Itachi. Does exactly that. 1.5 minutes, Relating Wave off the backboard. That's going to bounce awkwardly, but it's Exotic. That's the first one to it. Booms the ball yet again. But this is back to what Quadrant didn't like in games 1 and 2. Just trying to clear the ball for the sake of it. They've got to find teammates when they clear. Otherwise, they're just wasting time and wasting possession.
Yeah, they are going to just send everybody here. Final minute, 2-goal deficit. I mean, it's either you concede more, which has happened here as Exotic gets the fourth for KC. You know, can't really blame Quadrant for over-aggressing here. Oh, Cash was worried about the bump. He's leaned away from that when he's worried about getting bumped mid-air. Tries to go for a very precise touch. It looks like that wasn't even what Exotic was going for. Exotic's trying to block him. Maybe Cash trying to play around that block as well. Tough. It's very tough to cover every angle there for Cash. Karmine Corp, they're just playing too well in this game. That's the crazy save from Itachi. They're just doing everything right in Game 6. Looks like they are just moments away from their first regional victory as a team with their new lineup.
A first ever regional victory for Itachi and Exotic. They've not done it before. They will get there first. It's as good as confirmed at this point. Maybe Cash and the rest of them can give a little bit.
Oh!
24 seconds. Quadrant, what have you got on the kickoff?
Well, we're not quite done yet. Thought with the way this game was going, surely Vatira would just sneak that one into the corner, but it stays in the goal. Like you mentioned, what have they got left? What kind of kickoff strategy are they going to go for? Okay, they've gone for the demo kickoff, but they didn't get the best follow-up from it. They connected the demo. Cash, in trying to clear the ball in target, has actually just been dunked on, and it's a fifth goal, for KC, but you know, I've got to give credit where it's due. Quadrant tried something there. They tried to make it something different happen than a standard kickoff, which usually just goes into midfield play. Didn't work, but you know, hats off to them for trying.
I think that's a very good way of describing most teams' experience up against KC, which is Quadrant did something good and KC scored. It's just how it seems to be against them. Second place at the last regional. They're going to add another one. 5 goals to Exotic's name. Doubt them now.
Wow. He was so underrated for so long. He's been around since Season 9, won the Rival Series promotion tournament in Season 9 before we opened up the circuit, and he's just been in the shadows waiting for his moment to step into the spotlight that entire time. Now here he is. He's in the spotlight, and in the last game, to win the regional, to win the European Fall Cup, it is Exotic, man in the middle, with 5 goals to his name, some brilliant defensive plays.